Good evening. Welcome to Visions of Mystery, the second concert event of In Mulieribus' 2021 concert season. I'm Anna Song, Artistic Director, standing here in front of St. Mary's Cathedral, where we would have all come together for our annual holiday concert, as we have for over a decade. Before we begin our program, I want to take a moment to say how heartened we all were by the positive feedback and outpouring of support we received after the October premiere. During these uncertain and challenging times, it was such a gift to hear that the presentation resonated with so many of you. Thank you for tuning in, for your generosity, and for taking the time to share your reactions and thoughts. Tonight's program is the result of a collaboration with New York-based filmmaker DeMarco. It will feature music from medieval England, a glorious piece we commissioned from Moody in 2013 called Cum natus esset Iesus, a stunning work for female voices and harp by Canadian composer Kelly Marie Murphy called The Darkest Midnight in December, and Star of Wonder by Terre Roche. We are deeply grateful to our concert sponsors, Linda Besant and Martha Getch, whose generous support and faith in I Am have made this entire project possible. Now, quite a few of you mentioned after the last concert event just how much you missed seeing the singers perform. So we did something about that. Here they are to open Visions of Mystery, singing Stillat, Radium in Stillat. Recording Stillat in stellam gave the singers and I a chance to get together and make music again, something we haven't been able to do since last March. So thank you for inspiring us to make this happen. And now, Ivan Moody's Cum natus esset Iesus, with videography by DeMarco. you're like me, I was awestruck by the cinematography and actually had no idea what Ben was up to until I saw the first draft. Let's hear from him now to give us a glimpse into his creative process and what it has been like to collaborate with IM.
Hi, my name is Ben DeMarco, and I'm a New York City-based videographer, documentary filmmaker, but I'm originally from Portland, Oregon. I use a variety of ways to capture shots: cameras, phones. I have a wonderful filming drone. It used to be that only about 10 years ago, you needed a helicopter to get shots like that. With the Moody piece, the text is all about traveling and searching for something. So I wanted the viewer to feel like they were on a journey and moving from one environment to another. So there are no still shots in the entire piece, no tripods, a lot of gimbal work, camera tracks, the drone. But I wanted it to feel like you were constantly moving, so all the shots are movement shots. You know, moving through the hills and through the forest and maybe feeling a little lost, finding something new. And then I threw in some shots of mist because this is Visions of Mystery after all. I don't want to tell you too much about Star of Wonder because you haven't seen it yet. But the piece is absolutely beautiful, so I used a lot of bright and heavenly imagery. My favorite piece is Darkest Midnight in December. The harp is fantastic. I quite literally tried to take you into the darkest night of December. You know, I started with snowy, stormy, windy images, cold, that then goes into the sun setting and taking us into night, and then ultimately even extinguishing the moon at one point and leaving us in pitch black. But I hadn't really anticipated getting all of the snow shots. I had to track it down. I had to go hunt down a lot of the shots, and sometimes I got very cold doing so. So I hope you enjoy it. It's been such a pleasure working with IM, and I just love the way that they sound.
There really aren't that many quality pieces for treble voices and harp, so it was very insightful to talk with the composer, Kelly Marie Murphy, about the piece and how it came to be. Because she lives in Canada, we reached out to her over Zoom, which gave us an opportunity to talk and hear more about her work. Well, welcome, Kelly. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time, ever since we first contacted each other. So thank you for making the time to talk with me today.
Oh, it's my great pleasure, Anna. Thank you.
So I loved how the harp introduces the piece and would love to know a little bit more about what motivated your choice of the harp and what the role of the harp is in the piece.
The commission came about because the principal harpist of the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, she was 45 years the principal harpist, Judy Lohman, she wanted me to write for harp. As a composer, I thought, this is way too scary. I don't want to write for harp. And the first time I met Judy was I was in Toronto for a premiere of an orchestra piece where I hadn't included harp, and I was walking backstage, and there's Judy Lohman, you know, the Judy Lohman on my John Rutter recording of, you know, oh my gosh. And so it was like this fangirl moment. And she said, you should really write something for harp. And I said, oh, should I? You know, like, just let me avoid this. But she was very persistent and very sweet. And she's a dear friend to this day. So it was just learning first of all, learning how to write for the harp. That was challenging. So starting out with a solo harp piece. And then Judy commissioned, when she retired from the Toronto Symphony, she commissioned a harp concerto from me to play with the Toronto Symphony. And so that took it up another notch. So from solo to, you know, concerto, how do you balance the harp? And then she commissioned this piece, Darkest Midnight. So it's the growth, really, and just the fascination of what the harp can do and how it supports and kind of glorifies the choral sound. I think it's beautiful.
You also are a singer. You've sung in choirs.
Yeah.
Can you share with us a little bit about kind of your relationship with writing for treble voices? Is there a different approach or something particularly that you find either challenging or really satisfying in writing for treble voices?
I love the clarity and the purity of the treble voice choir, and I think that is something, of course, when you're working with an orchestral palette, you have just such a wide range of notes and sounds and timbres. So with the treble choir, it's that purity, and I want to, you know, leverage that in all the pieces, because the sounds, the text can be so clear, and so that's what I pay attention to. What I love about the voice in general, or voices I should say, is that there's a range that we can all sing the same pitch, but you know, if you're an alto singing a middle C, you sound a lot different than a high soprano singing middle C, and so there's that vulnerability in the voices, and to try and find those strengths and the vulnerabilities, and then make the text work with that. And I love playing with harmony and voice leading and all of those fun things. And
well, it was definitely our pleasure. It's just that, like I said, it's a gem, sifting through so much repertoire. So thank you for just the gift of this piece and others that, like I said, I look forward to looking more into.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you took the time to, dig around and find this piece, and here we are talking about it, and you continue to perform it and to stand behind it. So I want to thank you very much for doing that. It means a lot.
Before we conclude our program, we'd like to dedicate the last piece, Star of Wonder, to all those who have lost loved ones to this pandemic. May this season be a time of remembrance, of gratitude, and a recommitment to work for a better, brighter future. Thank you for tuning in tonight.